Hey, what's up you guys? It's been quite a while since my last video. I've had a lot of stuff to do in the past couple of months, working on apps, doing freelancing. I also did a reskin in this time, and I thought it would be about time to do a new video. This time I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different though. My channel recently has been a lot of guides on reskinning and updates and that type of stuff. So I wanted to do a more in-depth tutorial this time. So today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on creating an authentication flow in Swift for iOS apps. Basically you're going to use Firebase, and Firebase is free, so anyone can do this. So you'll use Firebase to create the authentication flow and basically code that up. A lot of it's just copying stuff from the Firebase website, and you'll be good to go. Most apps these days need authentication. So it'll be really useful whether you're reskinning an app, creating an app for a client, or just making a project on your own. Really, it's useful for anyone to know this type of stuff. Very easy, should take only 20 to 30 minutes. And let's stop with the introduction now and get right into it. Alright guys, so I'm here at my table now and I'm going to start the tutorial up. Right now, let's just go straight to the Firebase website. So you're going to want to go to firebase.google.com. If you don't have a Google or a Gmail account right now, you're going to want to make one. It's completely free. So after that, you're going to want to log into your account. So I've logged into my account right here. And you're going to see this Firebase project view. Yours probably won't have any projects if you've never done this before. So you're going to want to press Add Project. Give it a little name. I'll just say Test YouTube Project. You can enable analytics if you want to. It's not necessary though. Just do default account for Firebase and create the project. So it'll take a few seconds for Firebase to get all the settings up to date, get the project made. So while this is happening, you can go into Xcode and open up the app here. So to do this tutorial, it's easiest if you have a Mac. However, you can use a non-Mac machine if you have a virtual machine that has Mac OS installed, but it's not the easiest thing to do. It is possible though. Anyway, let's create a new project in Xcode. You're going to do a single view app. Put a name here, Test YouTube Project. You're going to want to select your team, which mine is all selected there. You can really have anything for these settings here. The only things that are important are having it Swift and storyboard. And you can include some tests there. That's fine. Alright, so then select where you want to save it and just press create. I already have something called Test YouTube Project, so I'm just going to replace that. So now this is finished up. There's a couple of important things here. Display name is what the app is going to be displayed as on the iPhone or iPad. Bundle identifier is very important, especially for Firebase. You're going to need that. It's how the app gets identified by Apple. So let's go back to Firebase because it should be finished up by now. Yep. So press continue. And since we want to do an iOS app, you're going to click on this iOS button right here. And here it's asking for the bundle ID. So we go back into the project we created, copy this, and then we're going to paste it right here. Nickname, you can just make this the display name. It can really be anything. It doesn't matter because nobody sees this except you. So just register the app after that. You don't need an App Store ID. Now here's an important part. You're going to download this Google Service Info plist, okay? This is how it connects the app to the Firebase project. So I've downloaded this. go to my downloads to get it. Let's just drag this here for this one. Mine has a 2 after it because I already had a plist in my download folder, so I'll change that. And then what you're going to want to do is just drag this right into the project. You can do it right under the info.plist. There we go. Now it's all copied in there. Let's go back to Firebase now. So we've already downloaded that. We press next. So here's another important part. In order to use Firebase, you need to have the right libraries for Firebase. And the best way to do this is using pods. In my opinion, this is the easiest way. You could also go and download the project Firebase files and drag it into your Xcode application, but that tends to create a lot of problems, so it's better to just use pods. So to create a pod, you're going to want to go into Terminal, and at this point you want to go into the folder that has your project. So mine is in Documents, and then it's in Development, and then it's called Test YouTube Project. CD just means change directory, and it'll bring you into a new folder. So now I'm in the correct folder. You can see all of the project stuff right here. What you're going to want to run is pod init, which creates a new pod file that you can add different libraries and stuff to. So you run that. Now if you go into your Finder and find the correct folder, where is Test YouTube? Test YouTube project. Okay, so here's the file. You're going to want to open this with TextEdit. You see this line right here that says Pods for Test YouTube Project. Just hit enter a couple of times there and tab. And then there's quite a few different pods that you could put into here. So let me show you some of them that I have on a different project. Let's just go into my PDF app here. See all of these different pods for Firebase, they all do something different. You're not necessarily going to need all of these, but just for the easiness of it, I'm going to copy and paste all of them. So core is like all of the main Firebase features. Database is like the real-time database features. Authentication is for authentication, and that's mostly what we're going to be needing today. Storage is to store like videos, images, that type of stuff. And messaging is for one of Firebase's newer products. I haven't really used it before. So let's just save this. So that's all good to go now. Now you're going to want to go into your terminal again, and you're going to run pod install. This installs everything into your Xcode project, and once this is done, we'll be good to go and we can start building out the app. So there is quite a bit of initial stuff you need to do to get this going, but once you do it the first time, second time, it gets really easy. You memorize how to do everything. The first time, of course, it's kind of confusing, but it's really not as bad as you might think it is right now. So while that's installing, let's continue running through these instructions. So I can press next because that's finished. And now this is the part that we're going to need to add into the Xcode project. So let's wait for these pods to install. Okay, now everything is installed. So before you do this, you're going to want to quit Xcode. And now we can go into the application, Test YouTube Project, or whatever yours is called. Alright, and now you're going to see, or what happened there? Okay, when you go into your folder now, you're going to see there's a new Xcode kind of icon here. One of them's blue, one of them's white. You're going to want to only open the white one from now on since you have pods installed. If you open the blue one, all the pods won't be in there and you're going to run into a lot of errors. So it'll save you time. If you listen to this right now, just only open the white one from now on. So open that up. Alright, it's loading up. So now we have the project open and we're going to want to add this Firebase code into our project. So on the Firebase website, just copy this import statement, go down and find the app delegate file, which is right here, appdelegate.swift. Add the import right under the UIKit import. After that, you're going to copy this line right here, put it in the same spot that it is right there. So you can just delete this and paste that right there. And then you're good to go. That is it for the setup. So press next. You don't have to do this verification thing, just skip this step. And you're good to go. Everything is set up at this point. So what you're going to do now is go into Authentication, since that's what we're trying to implement, and press Set Up Sign-In Method. So these are all the different sign-in methods on Firebase. As you can see, there's a lot of them, from email, password, phone, Yahoo, Microsoft, so there's a lot of stuff. For this tutorial, we're just going to do email password. So you're going to press Enable on this one right here. Don't enable the email link. Press Save. So now it's enabled and people can create a new account with an email and password. You can also add one manually through the site here, but we're not going to do that. So now let's go to Firebase. Right here, there's some basic code for you. This is all in Objective-C. Alright. So before we do any of this, we need a UI to build out, to attach everything to. So let's quickly do that. You're going to head to main.storyboard. Here's your basic screen right now. And what you're going to do is press this plus button and let's add some stuff. So let's first create a view. We'll try to make this look kind of nice. I'm going to make this a height of 50. Make it 275 width and then center it. Let's make this background a different color so we can see better. We're going to do the exact same thing with this. And then add a label at the top. Just call it sign in. Nothing too crazy. We could make this a lot bigger if we want to, but let's just go with that. Center it. Then we need a button to actually sign in. We'll make this the same height as the fields. Ooh, man. So then this will be the login button. We can make this look kind of cool. Make it have a black background, white text. So it looks pretty good. And then we finally need another button, and let's put that under this one. So this is the button to press if they don't have an account yet. So let's say, don't have an account, sign up now. And let's change this, make it italic, light, system italic. And then let's make it a little smaller. Let's make it black. Looks pretty good, right? So some of this isn't the best looking right now. You can play around with it to make it look better, but We're just doing this as an example. Finally, we need to add the text field in here. And we'll change this. You see how there's like a shadow there? We can remove that by changing the border style. And then just add another one for the password field. Change the border style. Let's add some placeholder text. There's a placeholder field right here. So for this one, we'll say email. For this one, we'll say password. And we can also change the keyboard style here. This changes how the keyboard comes up when you press the text field. So let's do this. Keyboard type, email address, since they're going to be entering an email address. And then keyboard type. We're going to leave this regular since it's a password, but we want to do secure text entry so no one can see the password as they're typing it in. This will add like the little dots like you see on most password fields. So that's it for the sign in view. Now we're going to make another view controller. Put this right here for authentication. Let's just put the same brown here. Add a quick label. Make this create account. Let's make it the same as that, white and 30. Awesome. Center it. And then we're going to have some more fields here. So let's create the views first to hold the fields. You don't have to do this, but you can just add a field directly in, but I always think it looks better to have a view surrounding it. So it's 275 by 50. Center this one. Let's just copy and paste. Put one here. So you need an email, a password, and a verify password field. So that's what we're going to do there. Add a button to create the account. It's going to be 50. And then make that a black background as well. Create account. White text. And then we need another button just like last time. So if they accidentally press create account, they can go back and just sign in. So we're going to say already have an account, sign in. And we're going to do the same stuff here. Oops. System italic. Make it 12. And then make it black. So it looks pretty good so far. Let's just add our final text fields in there. Same as before, remove the border. This one's going to be for the email, so we're going to do an email address. Add another text field in. Remove the border. This is a password one. And then finally, we have one more, which is the verify password. Remove the border. Make this secure entry. Alright, now let's add the placeholders. So email, password, and then verify password. So pretty simple. Didn't take too long. Looks pretty good. So as soon as the app starts, it'll go into the sign-in page, and that is about it. So we'll delete this current view controller file, and we're going to create two new files here. You're going to want to do CocoaTouch class. So this one's a subclass of UI view controller. We'll call this login view controller. Create. And now we're going to make another one and call this one sign up view controller. Pretty easy. Can delete all this navigation stuff. Alright, so now we need to attach these files to the view controllers we've made in the storyboard. So this is the sign-in one. You're going to want to press on this identity inspector right here. Change this to our login view controller. Do the same here, but make this one the sign-up view controller. And we're good to go. So now we're going to create the connection from this storyboard right here into our view controller file. So let's close these side panels here. Open up a second screen here by pressing this button on the right. It's a little hard to find. Press main storyboard on the left side. So now you can easily see this here. And go into your folder here and open up login view controller. So now we can see the view controller file and the storyboard on the left side. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a control drag over to here. You'll see like a little blue line there to show where you're going to insert this. Then you let go, and this will create an outlet so you can access the text field in the file. So we'll call this email field. And then it just appears there like how you named it. We're going to do this with the password one as well. Call this one password field. And then finally we need to make outlets for our buttons, but these are a little bit different. These outlets will be for the action of pressing on the button. So basically when someone presses on the button, it'll call the function that we're about to create. So we'll do the same thing, control drag. I like to put this under view did load, and then we'll call this login pressed. Connect it and see how a little function is made right here. So everything that's inside here will be called when the login button is pressed. We're going to do that here too. We'll call this create account pressed. So now we have two different functions, two different text field variables. So that's it for that one. Now we're going to go up to sign up view controller, and let's change the file. This time we're going to have 3 text fields. We're going to do the same thing as before. Email field, password field, and then verify password field. Pretty easy. And now the same thing with the buttons. Put those right here. We'll say create account pressed. And then we'll say sign in pressed to bring us back to the sign in page. Very easy. So the next part is getting the navigation set up so we can go back and forth between the two different views. So the easiest way to do this here is press on this bar right at the top of the sign in page, and now put your mouse over the login view controller, little button right here. You're going to control drag just like we did earlier and bring it to the next view controller and let go. And we're going to want to select show. And see how it does that right there. It kind of makes like the card UI component like the iOS does right now. So anyway, we'll press on the arrow, open this up, press this button right here, and then we're going to choose identifier. So this will identify the segue to get from sign in to create account. Basically all segue is like a transition from one view controller to another. So we'll name this from sign in to create account. Let's also copy this because we're going to need it, and then just press enter. Can close that now. And so we want to bring the sign in view controller to the create account view controller when they press the don't have an account sign up now button. So that button is in the login view controller file. So that happens in this function right here, since we connected these two together earlier. So when create account is pressed, we're going to want to do self.perform. See how there's all this auto completions? Nice. Perform segue with identifier. We're going to paste that right in there, what we made earlier. And then sender is self, since this is the view controller that's sending it. So now anytime someone presses on this don't have an account button, it'll bring them to create account. Now we're going to want to do something similar in the sign up view controller. So if they're in create account and they press already have an account, it'll bring them to the sign in page. However, this is a little bit different because to get to the create account page, they've already had to use a segue to get there, right? So basically there's something like it's like popping back to the previous view controller, and there's a function for that. So all we have to do is self dot or actually it's dismiss is what it is. So self dot dismiss, and we want it to be animated, and we don't need any completion for that, so we'll just put it in nil. So this will remove the current view controller and bring us back to the parent one that initially sent us there. So this will bring us from create account to sign in when we pressed already have an account. So that's our basic navigation right now. Let's just add a third view in there, a view controller I mean, that will simulate like if we had a successful login. So this will just be like the home page or something, depending on what your app is. And we're going to want to make some segues from login, and we'll just call this from login to home, and then also from sign up, because you can get there from signing up as well. And we'll call this one from sign up to home, and we're going to need that later. So all of the basic code has been laid down for this project. We have all the functions for the buttons created. We have our text field variables created. We have our navigation set up. So now all we have to do is add the Firebase code. So we're going to go back to the Firebase website that we were at earlier, and we're just going to kind of copy this code. So what you're going to want to do is find the area that says sign up new users, and we're going to copy this and then go right here, make sure you're in the sign up view controller, and when create account is pressed, we're going to press this, and make sure you also import Firebase because that's important. So if everything is good, here, let's just go back into the normal view now, so it's easier to see. So you'll see we have two errors here. It doesn't know what email or password is, because those are just placeholder variables, and we're going to change that right now. So instead of just email, we're going to delete that, and we're going to say email field dot text. Alright. And instead of password, we're going to do password field dot text. But before we do that, right, we don't want to just sign them up with that one password field, because they might have typed in the wrong thing. So we want to make sure that the password field and the verify password field match. So basically, we're going to create an if statement here and say if password field dot text equals the verify password field dot text. And then we're going to move this Firebase function right into there. And then we can create an else statement here, and this will handle that the case that the passwords don't match. So handle passwords don't match. You can just make an alert there or something. I'm not going to get into it right now because this video is already kind of long. So let's do that. So if the passwords match, and they've been successfully signed up, we're going to get into this little function right here. So basically what we need to do is perform another segue to get to the home page. So we're going to go to our storyboard again, find the segue that we made from sign up to home, copy it, go to the sign up, and then we're going to do self.perform segue, same as before, pretty easy. And then that'll bring us to the home view controller once we've signed up. So that's completely it for the create account. Now we're going to move into the login view controller. Again, we're going to go to the Firebase website and find sign in existing users, copy this, go back to our login view controller, and then let's just paste this in the login pressed function. Again, make sure you import Firebase. Easy stuff here. And then to make sure that's good. So then, again, we have two errors, doesn't know what email and password is. Just like before, we're going to do email field.text. And then we're going to do password field.text. And then if this is a successful login, we're going to get into this section right here. You don't really need that. Alright. So we're going to put right here self.perform segue, and then go to main storyboard, find the segue we had from login to home, go back here, paste that in there, and do self. So then we're going to get moved to the home screen. And that basically completes the tutorial right there. Everything is created. We have the Firebase integration, we have the navigation, we have the views. So we're going to test this out on a simulator. So you can use this on your real device as well. I just didn't want to hook up my iPhone, and it's easier for you guys to just see my screen. So let this load up. So as you can see here, it's all loaded up. I have the simulator on my screen, and we can see our sign-in page. So right now we don't have an account, right? So we're going to want to go in here, and we're going to want to create an account. So I'm going to put in an email with my Gmail account here, put in a password like password 123, password 123, create account. Brings us to the home. And now let's check in Firebase and see if the account was made. Go into your project, refresh. Let this load up. And we'll see my account has been created. So I now have an account with the email janchung12@gmail.com. So it was successful to sign up. So now let's restart the simulator again and try to sign in with that account. And we'll do janchung12@gmail.com with password 123, log in. And it logs us in. We're in the home page. It works perfectly. So this has been a pretty simple tutorial on how to set up authentication with Firebase for your iOS app. There are a few different things that you're going to have to handle here. So we didn't really handle incorrect passwords for signing in, but that's pretty easy as well. You can just check if there's an error and then send an alert to them. Right now it won't log them in if there's a password problem, but they won't get any visual feedback like an alert. But that's easy to add down the road. Additionally, we didn't use any UI constraints. So while this might look good on like the iPhone 11 Pro Max that I'm using, if you try to use this on an iPhone 6, all the views are going to be kind of off. So you need to add the constraints so it can work on any device. That would be too much to get onto this tutorial, but I'm going to be making another one with constraints down the road. because that kind of needs its own separate video because it can be kind of difficult for beginners as well. So this has been a pretty simple tutorial on how to make a user authentication kind of flow for your iOS app. It's been pretty quick, probably about 20 minutes to get this all set up. This is one of my longer videos. I'm sorry it took a while, but just wanted to make sure I went through everything as detailed as possible. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments and I'll try to answer them. And I might try to post this project so you can easily copy the code if you want to take a look at it. But everything's kind of on the Firebase website in terms of authentication. The rest is kind of creating like a view and just hooking stuff up into your view controller files. So I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a little bit different than my normal content, but I hope it's useful to you guys trying to create an app. And if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be having a lot more tutorials down the road. So have a great day, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.